To continue the debate, I call upon Dr. Rupa Huq, Member of Parliament, to conclude for Proposition.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm sorry I'm going to miss your cocktail next week. But it's a pleasure to be here in front of the fellow members. And as a graduate of the other place, I'm not talking the House of Lords, I mean Cambridge, who did SPS, it doesn't even exist anymore, in the last century, I would say go easy on me, please. But what do you say to an SPS graduate in McDonald's? Anyone know this one? Big Mac and fries, please. Magic word, remember. But, you know, all these acronyms, SPS, PPE, isn't that part of the problem? I mean, if you ask the general public, the people outside that door, my electorate, pre-2020, what do they understand by the initials PPE? How many of these degree courses are inscribed on the public consciousness? If you saw that programme, Pointless, most ordinary people wouldn't know what you're talking about. And this is a very insular type of debate we're having. And isn't that part of the problem? The fact that the problem with technocrats and those kind of born-to-rule people is that they trade in this kind of initialese and jargon. And I feel that's part of the problem we should be getting away from. And I speak as a politician, they're a very hated species. You know, we're right down there with used car salesmen and all those untrustworthy sorts. And we need to get away from those kind of stereotypes. So look, I'm rising to speak for the motion. I mean, when I first saw the title, you know, if you ask people post-2020, what do they mean by PPE? It's this kind of stuff, isn't it? Look, this is the full set. It's got gloves in it as well. You know, when I first saw that title, I thought I could have a go at how we had a prime minister who said that Muslim women look like bank robbers and letterboxes, and now he's mandated us all to wear these muzzles. And I could go into one in that way, but, you know, it's serious. We may be facing, is it fourth or fifth wave? I can't remember how many we're up to. So, you know, to paraphrase Olivia Newton-John, let's get practical. And, you know, again, this is another problem with this blooming PPE degree, that I've never done it, but from what I understand, it has a lack of practical skills for the real world. You know, it's a lot of dead white men, from what I understand. And, you know, the kind of list of, if you Google PPE problems with, there's a long list of issues with it. And the way that, yes, we could all make a case against the way this conveyor belt of people that rule over us, that are experts in the art of constructing the concise soundbite, policy formulation, explanation, you know, it's far from applied. And when I taught at Kingston University, I had a very long career outside politics. I'm only quite recent to this game, although it's 3 elections. I've had one every other year. It's an odd year. I'm kind of due one again. But look, at Kingston University, they were very hot on sort of applied things, on, in fact, how we should link all the elements of hell. I'm talking about higher education and lifelong learning. And, you know, we repeatedly stressed all these things. I think towards the end, everyone was encouraged to do an industrial placement and experience the real world, all those things that you actually need. And, you know, as Morrissey said before he went mad and a bit racist, there's more to life than books, you know, but not much more. And look, I don't want to get all class war on you because, you know, I'm a fully paid up member of the middle classes. I was private school educated, I shop in Waitrose, all those things. But, you know, there does seem to be a bit of a PPE mafia or mafiosi or whatever we're calling it out there. And I don't want to go down the Oxbridge bashing route because I'm a product of that system myself. Or even Oxford bashing, which is standard stuff if you are BA Cantab or MA Cantab if you wait the extra year to trade up. But, you know, surely it is a bit disturbing if we have this very narrow gene pool of a degree created, whatever it was, 101 years ago, with such a long list of alumni in the upper echelons of, I don't know, the media, the civil service, politics, the city. And you could construct, I could have easily filled 10 minutes by just listing all those, however many it was, 241 people in the Wikipedia entry. You know, David Dimbleby, PPE graduate, announced the Brexit result, the whole thing schemed up by David Cameron, another PPE graduate. Massive miscalculation on the scale of miscalculations, a bit like having an election, the Theresa May election 2017. You know, all these people from the PPE, if I accept those, does it give me longer in the ding-dings? I'm a bit suspicious, right, okay. If you cut me off and then I've had it.
Isn't the fact that the main campaigner for Brexit was classics alumni from here and the Prime Minister was a geography alumni, doesn't that make your argument irrelevant?
No, I think you've not understood my argument. My argument was that all the people in this dramatis personae on the big night were PPE products, sort of thing. And, you know, so that's not what I was saying at all. I'm sorry I did not make myself clear. So, I mean, again, if we look at this PPE production line, Robert Peston, Nick Robinson, Ian Hislop, from all, you know, and we could go abroad, even as far away on this planet that you can be and still be on the same planet. In the down under, you've got Rupert Murdoch, Tony Abbott, Bob Hawke. You know, it's a little bit disturbing that these people are all from such a narrow... And, you know, oh, really? That's him who did that, isn't it? I told you! Your backroom boys, your front room, your people that turn from back room to front room, the Miliband's, Peter Mandelson, all this lot. And there is a very good point made that there are not enough people from science backgrounds, those kind of backgrounds in the House of Commons. And it, you know, just creates a self-replicating cycle. So what do we do with a problem like PPE? And again, you could have a go at all sorts of elitist things, couldn't you? The Eatons, the Bullingdons, you know, Cambridge itself. What I would say is that, you know, this degree that's meant to give you a magic ticket to the upper echelons, producing people that are folk that are at ease in the higher strata. You know, you could also say, I suppose, the Enarchs in France, the Kennedy Scholars in Harvard, blah, blah, blah. But what I would say is that maybe, you know, reform is the way forward, because this degree, if we look at it now, is it truly fit for purpose in this day and age? I mean, we can all agree that things like meritocracy, and advancement on aptitude and not because you've been to the right place are all good things, and insularity, elitism, arrogance, all those things are bad things, surely. And, you know, I'm someone who's big on academic freedom, but at the same time, I do think education should be life-changing, obviously, but we need to look at what the content of this syllabi is and whether it's fit for purpose. And as far as I understand, you can go through 3 years without doing much contemporary problems or any of these things, unless you opt for the 10,000-word dissertation where you can really get your teeth into something. But that's only an option. So again, you could remodel this, put more skills-based, practical stuff in it, make the dissertation compulsory. And, you know, I'm not saying burn down Oxford, but there is or Cambridge or any of these things, but there is a thing about replicability that when, you know, you're being interviewed by someone who thinks, oh, you remind me of me when I was your age, and then it just, you know, the cycle goes on. And I was showing some people around the House of Commons yesterday, you know, it's this same ecclesiastical type of architecture of the quad. If you've been to a school that looks like that, if you've been to a university that looks like that, then you come to the House of Commons, it looks like that. You feel very at home. And you know, I think all these things we should look at, but the content of the PPE degree, because again, as has been said, sometimes this can be used as a stick to bash other things. So, and you know, and I think of my own son, 17 years old. He's just put in his UCAS form. I thought it'd be quite handy if he went to Oxford, up the A40, easy drop with all his stuff for me. But he didn't like the E. And, you know, my generation in the 90s, we were necking E's all the time. Oh, sorry. I think it's lost on some people here. Never mind. Anyway, moving on. So, you know, it needs a radical fix, doesn't it? And, you know, left, right, old, new, for every Roy Jenkins who liberalised things like drugs and homosexuality and abortion, you've got a Rishi Sunak who's also a PPE graduate who's just cut, universal credit by £20 a week, £1,000 a year for the poorest in our society. So, by that token, both sides. But I do think we should look and cut international aid. Every election candidate who won in 2019 stood on a commitment to keep that at 0.7%. Anyway, look, what am I blathering on about? I just think that a radical shake-up is needed to combat that anti-politics climate we live in as well. It would be a good start. And, breadth and depth, great. Academic freedom, academic rigour, great stuff. But, higher education, what is it good for? To paraphrase Edwin Starr. Nobody understands any of my references because I'm so much older than any of you. Anyway, look, I don't usually quote Dominic Cummings, but I'm going to finish with him, the ultimate PPE graduate. And he says, sorry, I need reading glasses at my age. If you are young, smart, and interested in politics, think very hard before studying PPE. It actually causes huge problems as it encourages people like Cameron and Ed Balls to spread bad ideas with lots of confidence and bluffing. Let's do away with winging it and essay crises mentality shaping our nation, and let's have a flagship degree that is fit for purpose. Aung San Suu Kyi, we should add to that list as well. I'm surprised she was mentioned. This is a purveyor of genocide that this degree has created. I mean, not everybody does it. So look, let's do this. Vote in the I lobby tonight. Back the proposition. Thank you.